Picture yourself in the year 850 CE, standing on a windswept fjord, your breath clouding in the chill air as you grip an axe worn smooth by use. You're a Viking warrior, not the myth of sagas, but a man of flesh and bone, leaving behind hearth and kin for the promise of wealth and renown across the sea. The campaign ahead is no tale of glory, it's a brutal odyssey of survival, where every wave, every battle, every night under the stars tests your will. The life of a Viking warrior on campaign was a gauntlet of freezing seas, bloody clashes, and betrayals, all woven with a thread of fleeting hope. Let's embark, step by careful step, through this harsh world, our tale spun softly to guide you into dreams. The wind howls across the fjord, carrying the sharp bite of salt and frost as you stand on a rocky shore. Your breath clouding in the chill dawn of 850 CE. You're a Viking warrior, a man of sinew and scars, your calloused hands gripping an axe worn smooth by years of use. Behind you lies your modest farmstead nestled between craggy hills, its thatched roof heavy with dew, the faint bleat of goats echoing from the barn. Your wife, if you have one, stands at the threshold, her face etched with worry, while your children cling to her skirts, their eyes wide but silent. The longship bobs before you, its dragon-headed prow cutting through the mist, its oars creaking as your warband prepares to sail. You're leaving this quiet life for a campaign across the sea, driven by the promise of silver, glory, or simply survival in a world where strength is the only currency. The journey ahead is no saga of heroes, it's a brutal test of endurance, where the sea's wrath, hunger's grip, and the uncertainty of what lies beyond make every moment a gamble with death. Let's step aboard, feel the spray on your face, and trace the harsh beginning of a Viking warrior's campaign. You sling your shield over your shoulder, its iron boss dented from past fights, and heft a sack of meager belongings, wool cloak, flint, a few strips of dried fish. The longship is a marvel of Norse craft, its oak planks sleek and sturdy, but it's no place of comfort. Barely 30 paces long, it's crammed with 20 warriors, their gear and barrels of supplies lashed to the deck. You find your place at an oar, the wood rough under your palms, and settle onto a narrow bench, your knees brushing against the man beside Ubjorn, perhaps a grizzled friend whose laugh hides his own fears. The sail, striped red and white, hangs furled, waiting for favorable winds. But for now, it's your strength that will drive this vessel. The chieftain, a bear of a man with a braided beard, barks orders, his voice cutting through the gull's cries. The ropes are loosed, the anchor hauled, and with a heave, you push off, the ship groaning as it slides into the fjord's icy waters. The North Sea awaits, its waves slate grey and restless, capped with foam that stings your face as you pull. At the oar, the rhythm is punishing, stroke after stroke, your shoulders burning, your breath ragged in the cold air. The ship pitches with each swell, the decks slick with spray, and you brace your feet to keep from slipping. The cold is relentless, seeping through your wool tunic and leather boots, numbing your hands until they ache around the oar. The air smells of salt and wet wood, mingled with the faint musk of sweat from the men around you. There's no shelter, here no cabin to retreat, to only a canvas tarp strung amidships for the worst storms, and even that offers little against the wind's bite. You glance at the horizon, a blurred line where sea meets sky, and wonder what lies beyond. A rich monastery in Northumbria, a Frankish village ripe for plunder, or an enemy's spears waiting in ambush. Rations are sparse, and hunger is already a companion. Your sack holds a few strips of dried cod and a hunk of hard bread, but these must last days, perhaps weeks. Fresh water is stored in barrels, its taste brackish from the wood, and you sip it sparingly, knowing a storm could delay landfall. The chieftain rations food tightly, his eyes sharp for any who take more than their share. You chew slowly, the fish tough and salty, your stomach growling for more. Some men jest to keep spirits high. Olaf, a young warrior, boasts of the silver he'll win, but others are silent, their faces set against the wind, their thoughts on home or the battles ahead. The sea is a fickle ally, one moment calm, the next a roiling beast that tosses the ship like a toy. You've heard tales of crews lost to storms, their ships splintered on unseen rocks, their bodies claimed by the deep. The thought gnaws at you, but you push it aside, focusing on the oar's rhythm, the creak of timbers, the steady beat of your heart. Days blur into nights, the sun a pale disk barely warming the air. Sleep is snatched in shifts, curled on the deck under your cloak, the cold wood pressing into your back. The waves rock you, but it's no lullaby. Each lurch jolts you awake, the spray soaking your furs. You wake stiff, your muscles aching from rowing, your hands blistered and raw. The men around you fare no better. Bjorn rubs his shoulders, muttering curses, while young Olaf looks pale, his bravado fading with the seasickness that grips him. The chieftain paces the deck, his eyes scanning the horizon, his voice gruff, as he urges you to row harder. Navigation is crude as sunstone to find the light on cloudy days, the stars when they're visible, and the chieftain's memory of currents and coasts. A wrong turn could strand you, or worse, deliver you into the hands of enemies. The physical toll is relentless. Your hands, once calloused from farm work, now split and bleed, the salt spray stinging each cut. Your back aches from hunching over the oar, your legs cramped from the narrow bench. The cold is a constant enemy, creeping into your bones, making every movement a small agony. You wrap your cloak tighter, but it's sodden, its wool heavy with damp. The men share stories to pass the time, tales of Thor's hammer or past raids, but the words are half-hearted, drowned by the wind's howl and the waves' crash. Hunger tightens its grip. The dried fish is gone, the bread mouldy, and the water tastes fouler each day. You've seen men weaken on long voyages, their strength sapped, their eyes dull with hunger. Disease, too, is a whisper coughs spread in the close quarters, and a fever could sweep through the ship, leaving you all at the sea's mercy. The uncertainty of your destination weighs heavier than the oar. The chieftain speaks of a monastery on a distant coast, its coffers brimming with gold and relics, but rumors swirl among the men. Some say the monks are defenseless, others whisper of armed guards or rival warbands. You've raided before, swift strikes on villages, the clash of steel, the screams of the fleeing, but each campaign is a gamble. Will you find riches or resistance? Will the sea carry you to glory or a watery grave? The sagas sing of heroes, but you know the truth. Survival is no guarantee, and glory is a fleeting dream. You glanced at your shield, propped against the ship's side, its wood scarred from past battles. Your axe, tucked nearby, is sharp but heavy, a reminder of the blood you may spill or shed. The sensory weight of this journey is all-consuming. The sea's salt coats your lips, its spray stings your eyes, blurring the horizon. The ship's timbers groan with each wave, the oars creaking in their locks, the sail flapping when the wind shifts. The air is sharp with cold, carrying the faint rot of seaweed and the musk of unwashed men. Your hands burn with each pull, your shoulders scream, but you row on, the rhythm a grim mantra. The men's voices are low grunts, curses, the occasional laugh, but the sea's roar drowns them, a constant reminder of its power. You taste salt and hunger, smell damp wool and fear, feel the ship's pitch under your feet. The cold numbs your fingers, but you grip the oar. Knowing weakness is death, fear and ambition mingle in your chest, a quiet storm as fierce as the sea. You dream of silver to bring home, of tales that will make your name echo in the mead hall. But fear whispers, too, of storms, of betrayal, of a spear finding your heart. You think of your family, their faces fading with each day at sea. Will you return to them, or will your bones lie on a foreign shore? The chieftain's eyes meet yours, his gaze hard but steady, and you draw strength from it, though you know he fears the same. The warband is your kin now, bound by shared hardship, but loyalty is fragile when hunger and danger loom. You've heard of crews turning on each other, of chieftains abandoned when the plunder runs dry. Trust is a luxury, and you guard it as fiercely as your axe. As the days stretch on, the horizon remains empty, the sea a vast grey expanse. The wind shifts, colder now, and the chieftain squints at the clouds, muttering of storms. You row harder, your breath ragged, your body a machine of endurance. The campaign has only begun, but already it tests you hunger, cold, the sea's unyielding wrath. The longship is your world now, its deck a stage for survival, its oars a lifeline to whatever lies ahead. You glance at Bjorn, his face set against the spray, and at Olaf, his seasickness easing but his eyes wide with the weight of what's to come. The saga of this journey is unwritten, its end unknown, but for now you row, your heart beating with a defiance that refuses to break, carrying you deeper into the brutal life of a Viking warrior on campaign. The longship grates against a rocky shore, its timbers groaning as you and your warband leap into the shallow surf, the icy water biting your legs through worn leather boots. It's 850 CE, and you're a Viking warrior, far from the fjords of home, your axe heavy at your side and your shield scarred from past fights. The North Sea's wrath lies behind you, but the campaign's next trial awaits. Life in a makeshift camp on a foreign coast, where survival is a daily battle against hunger, cold, and the ever-present threat of ambush. The air smells of salt and wet earth, tinged with the faint rot of seaweed strewn across the pebbles. Your breath clouds in the chill dusk, and the distant howl of a wolf sends a shiver down your spine, sharper than the wind cutting through your wool cloak. This is no saga of glory camp life, is a brutal grind, where every fire, every meal, every night under the stars tests your endurance in a world that offers no mercy. You haul the longship higher onto the beach, your muscles aching from days of rowing, your hands blistered and raw. The chieftain, his braided beard flecked with salt, barks orders to secure the vessel ropes tied to boulders. Oars stowed, the sail furled against the wind. The shore is desolate, a stretch of jagged cliffs and scrubby grass, perhaps somewhere in Northumbria or the Frankish coast, its details blurred by fog and fatigue. Your warband won men, hardened but wary sets, to work establishing camp. You gather driftwood, its surface slick with damp, and pile it for a fire, your fingers numb as you strike flint to spark. The flames catch slowly, spitting smoke that stings your eyes, its warmth a fleeting defense against the cold that seeps into your bones. The camp takes shape, crude shelters of branches and canvas, lashed together against the wind, and a rough perimeter marked by spears thrust into the earth. The physical toll of this life is immediate. Your body, already worn from the sea, protests as you haul stones to anchor the shelters, your shoulders screaming, your back stiff from the ship's cramped benches. Your cloak, sodden from spray, hangs heavy, offering little protection from the damp that clings to everything. The air is sharp with salt and pine, but hunger is sharper, gnawing at your gut. The ship's rations dried fish, hard bread, are nearly gone, and the barrels of water are low, their contents cloudy with sediment. You chew a strip of cod, its saltiness, a grim comfort, but it's not enough. The chieftain rations tightly, his eyes hard, as he divides the last of the bread, and you know foraging is next. The land around you is unfamiliar, its woods and fields, hiding both sustenance and danger berries that might poison, streams guarded by locals, or wolves drawn by the scent of your fire. Foraging is a desperate task. You venture out with Bjorn, your grizzled comrade, and young Olaf, his bravado tempered by the sea's trials. The forest is dense, its branches clawing at your tunic, the ground soft with moss and mud. You search for anything, edible roots, mushrooms, perhaps a hare if you're lucky. Your axe doubles as a tool, hacking at underbrush, but your hands shake from hunger, your eyes straining in the dim light. The silence is broken by snaps of twigs, each sound making you grip your weapon tighter, wary of ambush. Locals know these lands, and they don't welcome raiders, farmers with pitchforks, warriors with spears, or hidden archers could be watching. You find a patch of berries, their taste bitter but filling, and stuff them into a sack, but it's not enough for 20 men. A stream offers water, but you boil it over the fire, fearing the flux that's claimed others on past campaigns. The camp is no haven. The shelters leak, their canvas sagging under drizzle, and the ground beneath is cold, seeping damp through your furs as you try to sleep. You curl up near the fire, its smoke curling into your lungs, the crackle of burning wood a faint comfort against the night's chill. The men around you are restless, some snore, others mutter curses, their bodies as battered as yours. Olaf huddles close, his face pale, his hands clutching a tattered cloak. The chieftain keeps watch, his silhouette stark against the firelight, his axe never far. The night is alive with threats, the howl of wolves, the rustle of leaves that might hide enemies, the distant cry of a night bird that could be a signal. You've heard tales of camps overrun, warriors slaughtered in their sleep, their loot stolen, their bodies left for scavengers. Your hand rests on your axe, its weight a reassurance, but sleep is fleeting, broken by cold and fear. Hunger shapes every moment. The foraged berries and a snared rabbit are shared thinly, boiled into a watery stew that barely dulls the ache. In your stomach, you chew slowly, savoring each morsel, but it's gone too soon. The men grow surly, their eyes darting to the chieftain's stash of supplies, their whispers hinting at theft or worse. Hunger breeds mistrust, and you watch your comrades as closely as the shadows. Bjorn shares a strip of dried meat, a rare kindness, but Olaf's gaze lingers on it, his hunger a mirror of your own. The chieftain's authority holds the warband together, but its fragile greed or desperation could spark a fight, and you've seen men turn on each other over less. The fire's warmth is a small defiance against the cold, but it can't banish the hunger that claws at you, a constant reminder of the land's indifference. The threat of ambush is ever present. This is not your home, where neighbors know your name. Here, Every local is a potential enemy, their villagers hidden beyond the hills, their warriors ready to defend their own. You've raided before swift strikes on monasteries or hamlets, but this land feels different. Its silence heavy with menace. The chieftain posts sentries, but their eyes are weary, their hands stiff from cold. You take your turn at watch, your shield propped nearby, your ears straining for the snap of a twig or the glint of steel in the moonlight. The fog rolls in, blurring the trees, and every shadow seems to move. You've heard of warbands caught off guard, their camps burned, their men cut down before they could reach their weapons. The thought keeps you alert, your heart pounding, your axe a cold comfort in your grip. The sensory weight of this life is relentless. The air is damp and cold, carrying the temps of salt from the nearby sea and the earthy musk of wet furs. The fire's smoke stings your eyes, its heat fading too quickly as the wind howls through the camp. The ground is hard, its damp seeping into your cloak, chilling your bones as you try to rest. Sounds surround you, the crackle of flames, the low murmurs of the men, the distant howl of a wolf that sets your nerves on edge. Your hands are raw, the blisters from rowing now crusted with dirt, and your stomach twists with hunger, each pang, a reminder of the meal you can't have. The taste of boiled roots lingers, bitter and unsatisfying, and the weight of your axe is a constant pull, grounding you in this brutal reality. The men around you bear the same burdens. Bjorn's cough worsens, a rattling sound that hints at sickness, and you wonder if he'll survive the campaign. Olaf, young and untested, clings to his spear, his eyes wide with fear or hunger or both. The chieftain's voice is steady, but his face is lined, his gaze distant as he weighs the risks of the raid ahead. The warband is a brotherhood, bound by shared hardship, but it's a fragile bond. Hunger and fear can turn allies into enemies, and you've seen fights break out over a stolen crust. Loyalty is to the chieftain, to the promise of plunder, but it wavers in the face of starvation. You share a glance with Bjorn, a silent pact to watch each other's backs. But trust is a luxury in this wild place. As the days pass, the camp becomes a crucible, forging resilience from suffering. You mend your shelter with scavenged branches, your hands bleeding as you tie the knots. You forage deeper into the woods, risking ambush for a handful of nuts or a fish from a stream. The fire is your lifeline, its warmth a fleeting defense against the cold that numbs your fingers and toes. You've heard of warriors lost to frostbite, their hands blackened, their strength gone, and you rub your hands by the flames, willing the warmth to stay. The chieftain speaks of the raid to Kuma Monastery, perhaps, or a village rich with grain, but the men are weakening, their faces gaunt, their spirits fraying. The campaign's promise of glory feels distant, overshadowed by the immediate fight to survive another night. The camp is a world apart, a fragile outpost in a hostile land. The sea roars nearby, its waves a reminder of the journey that brought you here and the one that may never take you home. The forest looms, its shadows hiding threats you can't see. Your body aches, your stomach growls, but you endure, driven by a stubborn will to see the dawn. The fire crackles, its light dancing on the faces of your comrades, each marked by the same hardships. The campaign stretches ahead, its dangers unknown, but for now, you focus on the fire, the axe in your hand, the faint hope of survival. The night closes in, its chill, a challenge you meet with a quiet defiance, carrying you deeper into the brutal life of a Viking warrior on campaign. The dawn breaks cold and grey over the makeshift camp, the fog clinging to the rocky shore where your longship rests, its dragon prow looming like a silent sentinel. You're a Viking warrior in 850 CE, your axe sharp at your side, your shield heavy with the scars of past fights. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth, smoky fire, and the faint salt temps of the sea, while the distant cry of gulls mixes with the low murmurs of your warband. Days of rowing and nights of hunger have worn you down, but today brings the campaign's true test. Battle. The chieftain, his eyes hard beneath a furrowed brow, speaks of a monastery nearby, its stone walls hiding silver and relics ripe for plunder. Yet the promise of wealth is laced with peril. Battle is a brutal dance of blood and steel, where courage and loyalty are tested against the raw horror of slaughter. As you tighten your grip on your axe, let's step into the chaos of a Viking raid where every clash could be your last. The warband moves out, 20 men strong, their boots crunching on gravel as you trek inland. Your shield, strapped to your arm, is a familiar weight, its oak solid but splintered from past blows. Your tunic is damp with sweat and dew, the leather straps of your belt creaking as you walk. The chieftain leads, his iron helm gleaming faintly, his voice low as he urges silence. The monastery lies beyond a wooded hill, its presence whispered by locals, your scouts interrogated a stone church, lightly guarded, but rumors hint at armed monks or a nearby lordsman. Your heart pounds, not with fear alone, but with a fire that drives you. The need for silver to bring home, the hunger for a name that will echo in mead halls. Yet the weight of danger is heavy. Step toward, the target is a step toward death. Or glory, the forest thins, and the monastery comes into view, its walls grey against the misty dawn. The warband forms a loose line, shields raised, axes and spears ready. You stand shoulder to shoulder with Bjorn, his breath steady, his axe notched from battles you've shared. Young Olaf, pale but determined, grips his spear, his eyes wide, with the anticipation of his first raid. The chieftain signals, and you advance, your boots sinking into soft earth, the air sharp with pine and the faint smoke of the monastery's hearth. A bell tolls, slow and mournful, signaling morning prayers, a warning of your approach. The silence breaks with a shout, and chaos erupts. Monks scatter, some clutching crosses, others wielding staffs or crude blades. A few local warriors, summoned by the bell, charge from a nearby barn, their spears glinting. The shield wall forms, your warband locking shields in a tight line, a barrier of oak and iron against the enemy's rush. You brace your shield, its boss cold against your arm, and feel the impact as a spear glances off it, the jolt rattling your bones. The air fills with shout-snorts war cries, the monks' desperate prayers, the clash of steel on wood. You swing your axe, its blade biting, into a warrior's shield, splintering it with a crack that echoes in your ears. Blood sprays, warm and coppery, as another man falls, his scream cut short. The fight is a blur of motion, axes swinging, spears thrusting, bodies falling in the mud. Your breath is ragged, your muscles burning, but you press forward, driven by the rhythm of survival, the need to protect Bjorn at your side, to prove your worth. The physical toll is immediate and brutal. A spear grazes your arm, the pain sharp but dulled by the rush of battle, blood trickling warm beneath your sleeve. Your shield arm aches, each blow against it sending shocks through your shoulder. Sweat stings your eyes, mixing with the dirt and blood smeared across your face. The ground is slick with mud and gore, making every step a struggle to stay upright. You hear Olaf cry out, his spear snapped, his face pale as he fends off a monk with a dagger. Bjorn roars, his axe cleaving through a warrior's helm, but even he staggers, a gash on his leg slowing him. The monastery's walls loom closer, its doors breached. But the fight isn't over, more defenders spill from within, their desperation matching your own. The mental strain is as heavy as the physical. Fear claws at you, not of death, but of failure, of falling before the raid succeeds, of leaving your family with nothing. The warrior's code demands courage, loyalty to your chieftain and comrades. But the reality is grim. Men die screaming, their guts spilling, their eyes wide with terror. You've seen it before, friends cut down, their bodies left for crow's end. The memory drives you to swing harder, to shield Bjorn from a spear's thrust. Yet doubt creeps in. Will the plunder be worth this? Will you survive to see home? The screams of the fallen monks, warriors, perhaps one of your own, fill the air. A chorus of anguish that threatens to break your focus. You push it aside, your axe a lifeline, its weight grounding you in the chaos. The raid's climax is a storm of violence. You breach the monastery's hall, its air thick with the smell of incense and fear. Monks cower, clutching relics, while your warband tears through chests, grabbing silver chalices, gold crosses, anything that glints. You stuff a candlestick into your sack, its weight a promise of wealth, but the fight isn't done. A warrior lunges, his blade grazing your ribs, the pain a white-hot flash. You counter, your axe finding his chest, and he falls, his blood pooling on the stone floor. The chieftain shouts to retreat, the plunder secured, but not all will leave. Olaf stumbles, a spear in his side, his eyes meeting yours in a silent plea. You drag him back, his weight heavy, his blood soaking your hands, but the enemy presses close, their cries echoing as you flee. The retreat is as brutal as the attack. You carry Olaf, his breath shallow, as the warband races for the longship. Arrows whistle past, one lodging in your shield, its impact jarring your arm. The forest blurs, branches clawing at your face, the ground treacherous with roots and mud. The chieftain leads, his voice hoarse, urging speed as the monastery's bell tolls behind you, a call for reinforcements. Your legs burn, your chest heaves, but you run, driven by the need to survive, to protect the plunder that might change your life. The ship looms ahead, its prow a beacon, and you scramble aboard, laying Olaf on the deck as the men push off, the oars dipping into the sea. The shore fades, the enemy's shouts drowned by the waves. But the cost is clear. Olaf's eyes are dim, his blood pooling, and others are missing. Their names soon to be forgotten, the sensory weight of battle lingers. The air is heavy with the coppery stench of blood, the acrid smoke of the monasteries burning out buildings, the salt of your sweat. Your hands tremble, slick with gore, the axe's handle sticky as you clutch it. The sounds are a grim tap. Steel, screams of pain, the thud of bodies hitting the ground. Your body aches, the gash on your arm throbbing, the bruise on your ribs a dull pulse with each breath. The taste of blood and dirt lingers in your mouth, your throat dry from shouting. The ship rocks beneath you, its timbers creaking, the waves a steady rhythm against the chaos you've left behind. Bjorn sits beside you, his leg bound with a rag, his face grim but alive. Olaf's breath slows, his hand cold in yours, a reminder of the price paid for this fleeting victory. The emotional toll is a quiet weight, settling as the adrenaline fades. You've survived, but at what cost? Olaf's life ebbs, his dreams of glory snuffed out. The silver in your sack feels heavy, tainted by the blood it cost. The warrior's code, courage, loyalty, honor holds you together, but it's a fragile shield against the reality of slaughter. You think of home, of faces waiting for your return, and wonder if they'll see the man you were or the one hardened by this day. The chieftain's eyes meet yours, his nod a silent acknowledgement, but his face is lined with the same doubts. The warband is quieter now, the plunder a small comfort against the loss of comrades. You bind your wounds, your hands steady despite the pain, and vow to fight another day, driven by a defiance that refuses to break. The longship sails on, the sea a vast expanse of grey, the monastery a fading memory in the fog. The campaign continues, its next trials waiting hunger, betrayal, the elements, wrath. For now, you rest, your body battered, your heart heavy with the cost of survival. The waves lap against the hull, a grim lullaby carrying you deeper into the brutal life of a Viking warrior on campaign. The longship rocks gently on the waves, its timbers creaking as you huddle beneath a damp cloak. The salty temps of the sea mingling with the faint smoke of a dying fire on the shore. It's 850 CE, and you're a Viking warrior, your body battered from a recent raid, your axe still stained with the blood of a monastery's defenders. The plunder silver chalices, a few gold rings, sits heavy in a sack. A fleeting promise of wealth that cost young Olaf's life and left Bjorn limping with a bandaged leg. The camp, a rough cluster of canvas shelters on a foreign coast, hums with tension as night falls, the fog curling thick around you. The sea's ordeal and the battle's brutality have tested your strength. But now a subtler danger stirs, betrayal and rivalries within the warband. In this harsh world, greed and mistrust can cut deeper than any blade, fracturing the bonds that hold your crew together and threatening your survival as surely as an enemy's spear. You sit by the fire, its warmth a frail shield against the chill that numbs your fingers. The air is heavy with the smell of wet furs, roasted fish, and the distant reek of seaweed. Your hands, raw from rowing and fighting, clutch a strip of dried cod, its saltiness a grim comfort against the hunger gnawing at your gut. The warband now 18. After Olaf's death and another's disappearance in the raid gathers, in small knots, their voices low, their eyes darting. The chieftain, his braided beard flecked with ash, counts the plunder under a canvas tarp. His axe close at hand, the silver glints in the firelight, each piece a spark for greed that simmers beneath the surface. You've seen it before, men bound by shared hardship turning on each other when loot is at stake, their loyalty as fragile as the ice crusting the nearby stream. Tensions flare quietly at first. Eric, a wiry warrior with a scar across his cheek, mutters about the chieftain's share, his voice sharp as he eyes the pile of silver. He's new to the warband, his ambition raw, his tongue quick to stoke discontent. You catch his glance, a flicker of challenge, and shift closer to Bjorn, whose steady presence is a rare anchor. The chieftain's authority holds the group together, but its fraying hunger and loss have made the men restless, their whispers hinting at mutiny. You've heard tales of warbands torn apart, a chieftain betrayed for a larger cut, a crew ambushed by their own over a disputed hoard. The plunder, meant to unite you, is a wedge, each man weighing his share against the blood he spilled. The locals add another layer of treachery. The monastery raid stirred the countryside, and scouts report movement in the woods, turned informants or warriors gathering for revenge. You've dealt with locals before, offering trinkets or threats for information, But trust is a dangerous gamble. A villager might promise safe passage for a coin, only to lead you into an ambush. Last night, a boy approached the camp, his eyes wide with fear, offering news of a nearby village's wealth. The chieftain paid him a bronze arm ring butt. You saw the boy's glance toward the woods, too quick, too nervous. Now, as you stand watch, your shield propped nearby. Every rustle in the fog feels like betrayal, the snap of a twig a signal for attack. Your axe is heavy in your hand, its weight a reminder of the blood it may yet spill, an omer or ally. Rivalries within the warband cut deeper than external threats. Eric's whispers find eager ears in Sven, a hulking man whose strength is matched by his greed. They huddle by the fire, their voices low, casting glances at the chieftain's tent. You've clashed with Sven before over a stolen ration. A careless shove and his temper is a spark waiting for tinder. Bjorn warns you to watch him, his voice a murmur as he sharpens his blade, the scrape of stone on steel a steady rhythm. The warband's code demands loyalty to the chieftain, to each other, but it's a fragile vow when survival is at stake. You've seen men fight over less, a better cloak, a warmer spot by the fire. Now, with silver at stake, the air crackles. With mistrust each man a potential enemy, the psychological strain is a heavy burden. You're never truly at rest, your eyes scanning the shadows, your ears straining for whispers of betrayal. Sleep is a fleeting luxury, broken by the need to stand watch or the fear of a knife in the dark. You dream of home, the warmth of your hearth, the laughter of your kinbutt, the faces blur, replaced by the grim reality of the camp. The chieftain's leadership is your anchor, but even he feels the strain, his orders sharper, his eyes weary. You've heard of chieftains overthrown, their bodies left for wolves, their names cursed in sagas. The thought gnaws at you. Could you trust Bjorn if the plunder were split unevenly? Would you turn on the chieftain if Eric's whispers swayed you? Trust is a currency you can't afford to spend lightly. The sensory weight of this life presses in. The fog is thick, dampening. Your cloak, its chill seeping into your bones. The fire's smoke stings your eyes, its warmth fading too quickly as the wind howls through the camp. The ground is hard, its damp soaking through your furs, making every attempt at rest a battle. The air carries the musk of unwashed men, the sharp tang of pine, and the faint rot of fish bones discarded nearby. Sounds surround you, the crackle of flames, the low mutters of the warband, the distant howl of a wolf that sets your nerves on edge. Your hands ache, the blisters from rowing and fighting now crusted with dirt, and your stomach twists with hunger, the fish long gone. The taste of salt and smoke lingers, a constant reminder of the sea and the fire that keep you alive. The threat of betrayal comes to a head one night. Eric and Sven linger by the chieftain's tent, their voices rising, their hands on their weapons. The plunder, divided earlier, sparked their anger. The chieftain kept a gold cross for himself, claiming it as his right. You stand with Bjorn, your axe ready, as the chieftain emerges, his voice calm but edged with steel. He challenges Eric to speak or fight, and the camp falls silent. The fires crackle, the only sound. Eric hesitates, his scar twitching, but Sven steps back, his courage faltering. The moment passes, but the rift remains, a crack in the warband's unity. You breathe easier, but the tension lingers, a shadow that follows you into the night's watch. The locals' treachery strikes soon after. The boy's tip was a trap, and ambush waits in the woods, arrows whistling from the fog as you scout. a path to the next raid. You dive behind a tree, your shield raised, the thwack of arrows against it jarring your arm. Bjorn fights beside you, his axe swinging, but a cry tells you another man is down. The chieftain rallies the warband, driving back the attackers, their bodies left in the mud. The cost is higher. Another warrior lost, the plunder's weight now heavier with blood. You curse the boy, his face burned into your memory, and vow to trust no one beyond your axe's reach. The campaign grinds on, the warband smaller, the plunder a fragile prize. You bind your wounds, your hands steady despite the pain, and share a glance with Bjorn, a silent pact to survive. The chieftain's voice is hoarse, his leadership strained but holding. The fog curls tighter, the fire a flickering hope against the darkness. Betrayal and rivalries have tested you, but you endure, driven by a stubborn will to see the dawn. The campaign's next trials nature's wrath, the final reckoning loom ahead. But for now, you grip your axe, your heart beating with a defiance that refuses to break, carrying you deeper into the brutal life of a Viking warrior. The camp clings to a rugged shore, its canvas shelters sagging under a relentless drizzle, the fog a thick shroud that blurs the line between sea and sky. It's 850 CE, and you're a Viking warrior, your body worn from the seas, trials, and a bloody raid, your axe heavy with the stains of battle. The longship rests nearby, its timbers slick with salt, while your warband, minished by death and betrayal, huddles around a sputtering fire. The plunder, a sack of silver and relics, is buried under a rock, its promise of wealth overshadowed by hunger and mistrust. The air is sharp with the scent of wet pine and the musky damp of your cloak, the distant roar of waves, a constant reminder of the journey's cost. Now, nature turns against you, its wrath a merciless foecold, storms and disease threatening to break you as surely as any enemy's spear. Let's linger in this harsh world, where survival is a daily battle against the elements. You crouch by the fire, its flames struggling against the rain, the smoke stinging your eyes as you rub your hands, desperate for warmth. The cold is a living thing, seeping through your wool tunic and leather boots, numbing your fingers until they ache around your axe. Your cloak, sodden and heavy, offers little defense, its damp weight pulling at your shoulders. The camp, somewhere, on a foreign coast Northumbria or the Frankish lands, is a fragile outpost, its shelters leaking, the ground a mire of mud and grass. You've seen men falter under this cold, their hands blackened by frostbite, their strength sapped. Bjorn, his cough worsening, huddles nearby, his face pale in the firelight, while the chieftain paces, his iron helm gleaming faintly, his eyes scanning the fog for threats. Storms are a constant menace, transforming the land into a battlefield as fierce as any raid. A gale sweeps in, the wind howling through the trees, tearing at your shelter's canvas until it flaps wildly. Rain lashes the camp, dousing the fire, leaving you in darkness as the cold deepens. You scramble with the warband to secure the camp, tying ropes with bleeding hands, piling stones to hold the shelters. The plunder is safe, wrapped in oilskin, but the storm cares nothing for your prize. Lightning cracks, illuminating the faces of your comrade's Ven, his greed buried under fear, the chieftain, his voice hoarse over the wind's roar. The sea churns nearby, its waves a threat that could swamp the longship, leaving you stranded. You've heard of crews lost to such storms, their ships shattered, their bodies claimed by the deep. Hunger gnaws as fiercely as the cold. The last of the dried fish is gone, the bread moldy, and foraging yields little a handful of bitter berries, a scrawny hare shared among 16 men. You boil roots in a pot, the stew thin and tasteless, its warmth fading too quickly. Your stomach twists, the ache a constant companion, and you chew a strip of bark, its woody bitterness a desperate bid to dull the pain. The water barrels are low, their contents brackish, and the nearby stream is fouled by mud. Starvation looms, weakening the warband, making each task mending a shelter, standing watch a test of will. You've seen men collapse from hunger, their eyes dull, their steps faltering, and you feel the same weakness creeping in, your hands shaking as you grip your axe. Disease stalks the camp, a silent killer bred in the damp and close quarters. Bjorn's cough is a rattling warning, his feverish eyes a sign of worse to come. You've seen men die of sickness on campaigns' fevers that burn through a warband, the flux that leaves warriors too weak to stand. The camp's hygiene is crude. Water for washing is scarce, and your hands, crusted with dirt and blood, spread illness with every shared meal. The gash on your arm from the last raid throbs, and you clean it with a rag, praying it doesn't fester. The air carries the faint stench of sickness, mingling with smoke and damp, a reminder that nature's wrath is as deadly as any blade. You fear for Bjorn, his strength your anchor, knowing a sick warrior could doom the campaign. The sensory weight is relentless. The wind's howl drowns, the fires crackle, carrying the salt of the sea and the earthy musk of wet furs. Your hands sting, raw from work, the blisters crusted with dirt. The ground is cold, soaking your cloak as you try to sleep, the damp chilling your bones. The taste of hunger lingers, bitter roots, salt, the faint rot of discarded fish bones. Sounds surround you, the storm's roar, the men's curses, the crash of waves against the shore. Your body aches, the cold numbing your fingers, the hunger twisting your gut, the weight of your axe a constant pull. The fog blurs the camp, its shadows hiding threats, each rustle a potential ambush. The psychological strain is heavy. Far from home, the memory of your fjord fades, replaced by the grind of survival. Fear gnaws not just of death, but of weakness, of failing the chieftain or Bjorn who relies on you. The warband is fraying, Eric's betrayal a lingering wound, Sven's silence a quiet threat. The chieftain's leadership holds, but his face is lined, his orders sharp with strain. You cling to the hope of home, of silver to ease your kins. Burdens, but the elements make every day a fight. You rebuild the shelter, share a scrap with Bjorn, and stand watch, your axe ready, your heart defiant against nature's wrath, carrying you deeper into the brutal life of a Viking warrior. The fog begins to lift, revealing a jagged coastline under a sky bruised with clouds. It's 850 CE, and you're a Viking warrior, your body worn from weeks of campaign rowing across the merciless North Sea, battling in blood-soaked raids, enduring hunger, cold, and betrayal in a makeshift camp. Your axe, notched from combat, rests heavy at your side, and the plunder silver chalices, a few gold rings, sits in a sack. Its weight a bitter reminder of the lives lost, like young Olaf, and the wounds that scar your warband. The longship is ready, its oars poised to carry you home or to another raid, but the campaign's toll has left you hollow. Your strength tested by nature's wrath and human treachery. Now, as the wind carries the scent of salt and pine, you face the final chapter, the return or the end. This is no saga of triumph, but a quiet reckoning of survival's cost, the fleeting glory of plunder, and the legacy of a warrior's life. told softly to guide you into dreams. You stand on the rocky shore, your boots crunching gravel as the warband prepares to sail. The air is sharp with the Thames of seaweed and the faint smoke of a doused fire, its embers hissing in the damp. Your cloak, tattered and heavy with dew, offers little warmth against the chill that clings to your bones. The campaign has taken its toll. Bjorn's cough is a constant rattle, his face gaunt. Sven, his greed subdued by loss, moves slowly, his eyes on the horizon. The chieftain, his beard greying under the strain, counts the men 16 now. After death and desertion, and checks the plunder, his voice low but firm. The ship's timbers creak as you load the sacks. Your hands raw, the gash on your arm throbbing from the last raid. The sea waits, its waves a steady drum, promising either home or oblivion. The return is no guarantee. The North Sea is a fickle beast, its storms ready to swallow the unwary. You've heard of warbands lost on the journey back, their ships shattered on rocks, their plunder claimed by the deep. As you push the longship into the surf, the cold water bites your legs, a reminder of the sea's power. You take your place at an oar, its wood worn smooth, and row, your shoulders burning, your breath clouding in the chill air. The sail catches the wind, striped red and white, but the sky darkens, clouds heavy with the threat of rain. The chieftain steers, his eyes on the stars when they break through, his memory of currents your only guide. Hunger lingers, the last roots and fish gone, and the water barrels are nearly dry, their contents sour. You sip sparingly, your throat parched, your stomach a tight knot. If you reach home, the fjord will greet you a quiet farmstead, your kin waiting with wary hope. The silver might buy land, livestock, a better life, but it comes at a cost. You've changed your hands scarred, your heart hardened by the screams of the fallen, the betrayal of comrades. Your wife, if she waits, may not know the man who returns, his eyes distant with memories of blood and storm. The sagas will sing of your raid, but they'll omit the truth, the friends lost, the nights of hunger, the cold that never leaves your bones. The village will honor the chieftain, his share the largest, but your portion a few coins. A ring feels small against the lives it cost. You'll sit by the hearth, the fire's warmth a stark contrast to the campaign's chill, and wonder if the glory was worth it. For many, the campaign ends not in return but in death. A storm could rise, the waves crashing over the deck, the ship splintering as you cling to the oars. Or another raid might claim you, a spear through your chest, your blood soaking foreign soil, your body left for crows. Disease, too, stalks. The warband Bjorn's cough could worsen, a fever claiming him before the fjord comes into view. You've seen men fall, their names fading with the wind, their graves unmarked. The monastery's silver, the gold cross you fought for, might be buried with you or stolen by rivals, its gleam a fleeting prize. The sagas rarely speak of these ends, of warriors who vanish into the fog, their stories lost, their kin left too. Mourn without answers. The sensory weight of this moment is heavy. The sea's salt coats your lips, its spray stinging your eyes as the ship pitches. The air carries the musk of wet furs and the faint rot of seaweed, the wind a low howl that drowns the men's murmurs. Your hands ache, the blisters from rowing and fighting crusted with salt, the axe's handle rough against your palm. The ships creak, the waves crash, the distant cry of a gull form a grim chorus, a reminder of the journey's cost. Your body bears the campaign's scars, hunger's ache, the gash on your arm, the cold that numbs your fingers. the plunders. Weight pulls at your sack, a tangible burden, but it can't ease the emptiness of lost comrades or the fear of what lies ahead. The emotional toll is a quiet wound. You think of home, of faces blurred by time, and wonder if you'll see them again. The warband, once a brotherhood, is fractured. Dolof's death, Eric's betrayal, Sven's greed have eroded trust. Bjorn remains, his cough a worry, his loyalty a faint anchor. The chieftain's leadership holds, but his eyes are weary, his voice strained. You cling to the warrior's coat, courage, honor, but it's a fragile shield against the reality of loss. The plunder, meant to bring glory, feels tainted, each coin a reminder of blood spilled. Yet you row on, driven by a stubborn will to survive, to carry the silver home, to etch your name in the saga. However fleeting, as the ship sails, the horizon a grey line, you reflect on the campaign's legacy. The sagas will sing of heroes, but you know the truth. Survival is the true victory, won through hunger, cold, and blood. The modern world, with its warm beds and steady meals, is a distant dream, but it reminds us how far we've come. Your struggle, your defiance, echoes through time, a testament to endurance in a brutal age. The waves lap against the hull, a soft rhythm, and the wind carries you forward, toward home or the end. For now, you grip the oar, your heart beating with a quiet strength, carrying you through the brutal life of a Viking warrior.